There is a sixth dimension beyond that which is known to man. A multiverse as vast as eternity, as timeless as the Infinity Gems. It is the middle ground between the big two and the indie publishers, between sci-fi and mysticism, and it lies between the pages of the reader's imagination. At the summit of entertainment, the dimension of comics, where a humble service is held. We call this service the Gospel of Comics.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I'm your host, The Church of Failure, and with me, as always, is my trusty co-host, Eric McCartney. How you doing, buddy?
Very long, crazy week. I'm glad it's over. Glad to be here doing the show. Relax, talk some comics for a couple hours.
Yeah, no shit. Yesterday was a rough day for anybody that's been following the Vic Lasagna stuff. Not gonna get into that because it's not really my audience or anything like that. But it was it's been a rough week all around. But then today, LA-based comedian got back on the Twitters. Jim posted a new video to his BitChute and pulled like 12, what is it? 12,000 something viewers on BitChute. So,
jeez.
Yeah, that's good numbers for a boomer on BitChute. But, so all in all, I think it kind of balanced out. And like I said, anybody following the Vic Lasagna stuff, the fight ain't over yet. So, you lose a battle, you win the war, whatever. But Novel Bro, everybody of note has a few minutes of pre-show stuff. I just started doing the 5 minutes worth of the pre-show music to let everybody kind of get in here, so they didn't have to watch 5 minutes behind. If they made it a few back, but and Rusty Cage made a good point about he doesn't care about people using his music as long as he's credited, and if you look in the description below, he is very much credited.
And we gave him a verbal. So
absolutely, if you're not following Rusty Cage, you need to be, because that man is amazing. Pretty soon he's going to be cutting his own Johnson off because he made his Indiegogo campaign in the day, and that's what he said he was going to do. I would just promise to eat my own book like Dick Masterson did. That would have been a better bet, because I think I retweeted it 3 or 4 times yesterday, and he broke the mark at 102% at 11:30. So be careful what you ask, Rusty.
Never put your wang up for a
bet.
bet.
I told him that when he did it, he needed to make sure to send it to me so I could put it as one of my Patreon tiers that I've yet to set up because I'm miserable as hell. But that is still coming. I haven't forgotten about it. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. But anyway, full show, so we should probably get into it.
Yeah, probably.
We've got some news articles to talk about. We've got a short video we're going to watch, about a minute and a half. Got a couple of comics that we're going to be reviewing, so I guess we should probably start the first segment up. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say first, like, traditional, old school, if you will, Gospel of Comics episode we've done in like a month and a half.
Yeah. Well, there's just been so much going on, man, and we've had some really interesting, cool guests come on. But I do like doing these shows. I do like doing these shows where we talk, movie, or where we talk news and do some reviews, because it makes me read stuff that I normally wouldn't.
Right.
But jumping right into the, let's see, who is it? Keemstar. Let's get right into the news. Fucking Keemstar. Matt Christie, welcome to the show, buddy. Danielle, thanks for coming by. Everybody that's not in chat but is watching, we definitely appreciate you being here.
But we'd appreciate you more if you were in the chat.
No, don't force them. They get to do what they want to do.
Because we could appreciate them on an individual level, not on a collective level. I'm an
um,
individualist.
oh my goodness, everybody is talking. Sorry about that. First article we've got today. That was the little chapels in the background. First thing of business today. Ayrton actually found this and sent it to me. I had no idea about this, but apparently, and it doesn't fall into this week's news, but late last week's. Dark Horse cancels Brian Wood's Alien series after misconduct accusation. So we've got some more cancel culture going on without any kind of actual proof. My goodness, you people! I love you very much, but no, cannot be on the show yet. You're too young. All right. Following accusations of predatory behavior from Comics Alliance, founder Laura Hudson. So there's a link there. We might look at that. Dark Horse Comics has canceled comic writer Brian Wood's upcoming Aliens, Colonial Marines Rising Threat series and said it will not work with him on future comics. Publisher issued a statement to The Beat on the new accusation saying, effective immediately, Dark Horse will not pursue any projects with Brian Wood. Dark Horse has canceled the upcoming series Aliens, Colonial Marines Rising Threat. You see that there as they put that out on the waters. Seems like we've seen this before with Funimation. Right. Seems like it would really
like history repeats itself.
Yeah, it seems like it would be really bad for Dark Horse if it came out that these allegations were BS and they literally participated in cancel culture. But
yeah. Because I totally would have bought at least the first issue of an Aliens book.
Oh, yeah. Well, they've had the Aliens property for a while now, and they've been doing great things with it. But Hudson alleges Woods forced her into a kiss at a bar. She added, he texted me for weeks afterwards, telling me his wife didn't understand him the way I did, wanting me to come out and, excuse the language here, folks, come out and fuck him. I refused. I was scared. How the fuck are you supposed to react? I don't know what it meant to say no to my idol, and I had no power at the time. In late 2013, artist Tess Fowler also accused Wood of misconduct, saying that he feigned interest in her at work so as to initiate a sexual encounter. Fowler's Twitter thread said that he had preyed on women for too long. Go ahead.
Hold on. Don't all men at least fake interest a little bit just for sex? At least at first. She might end up being real cool after.
I mean, I have no comment as a married man. But no, seriously. I mean, I think that's the meme, but I don't know. I don't think everybody does that. I don't think it's fair to categorize all men as doing that, but at least in your young adult life, I think that's probably true for the most part.
Well, and when she's, prattling on about her friends and stuff, when you're out at the bar, you're just kind of like, okay, let's get a few more drinks in the two of us, so we have to go home, so I don't have to listen about your 17 friends that you have.
Yeah.
That somehow 3 of them are named Ashley, and you can somehow keep them straight, and I haven't been following this entire half-hour story you've been telling me.
Yeah.
Let's just finish these drinks and go home.
Matt Christie sums it up pretty elegantly. Accused equals life over. Sad. And that's all you need to say about it, because you're right. Anyway, Wood responded that he did make a pass at her at FDCC, San Diego Comic-Con, Hyatt Bar roughly 8 years ago. But when she declined, that was the conclusion of the matter for me. There was never a promise of quid pro quo, no exertion of power, no threats, and no revenge. So essentially, his side of the story is, yes, I propositioned her, and she said no, and that was it. Which every man in the world has experienced.
Yeah.
Most of them today. Funny story, I used to work with a guy when I was doing a little bit of lawn care work when I was younger. And he was an older guy, gray hair, all that good stuff. But he would literally proposition every woman he saw. I don't say that as a joke. He would proposition every woman he saw, just upfront, blunt, everything. And I asked him one day, I was like, why do you do that? And he's like, man, you don't know. You get a lot of rejections, but if you do it enough, 2 out of 10 ain't bad.
I mean, he's got a point.
That's a hell of a tactic, If that's all you're looking for. That's a great way to get there.
Yeah.
But in any event, I don't encourage anyone in the chat to do that. I don't think that that's the proper way to go about courtship. But everybody's got their way of doing things. So who am I to say anything about it?
All right.
Wood currently works on several other titles for Dark Horse. It is not clear at the time of writing the publisher plans to do with those books. That's it. So what we've got is 2 accusations, 2 females in the community, and now Brian Wood is essentially canceled. If it comes out that he's guilty, by all means, this is well deserved.
Yeah.
However, what if it never, makes it? Because what's he supposed to do? We've seen with the Vic Mignogna situation. We've seen with every other situation of this kind, every piece of Me Too movement, that there's really there's no recourse. Because what are you going to do? Sue them? Well, if you sue them and you lose, then you're automatically guilty, even though that's not what losing means.
Right.
If you don't do anything about it, that seems like an admission of guilt. It's a no-win situation. It's a catch-22, and it's disgusting. Take this crap. If it's literally sexual harassment, and they went to HR, and HR did an investigation and found him guilty, then whatever. But if the investigation was like, oh, well, yeah, he propositioned me. Oh, okay, he's fired. Then that's crap.
Right. Well, and she says she was powerless, but you said no, and nothing happened.
No, that was Tess Fowler. The original girl said that he forced a kiss on her and was harassing her via text message.
Oh, but I mean, still.
Yes, it's crap, but what are you gonna do? So I've got another Me Too going on in comics right now. So let's have a little palate cleanser after that. If you guys have any comments, we'll talk about it. Matt Christie says, at Ayrton, yeah, and some women make accusation after being rejected, working the odds. Working the odds on the guy that I used to work with. Yeah, that's exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
I want to take him to Vegas. He's just going to play all the blackjack tables at once.
I'll put a bet on every single spot roulette wheel.
That's right. Oh, God, I hate these video ads on these websites. They're such crap. Everybody look at the cat. Come on. Okay, now everybody, fresh step. Are you shitting me? Oh my God, I hate these ads.
Are they like jump loading?
No, it's just in the frame. Everybody enjoy the cat while we go through this one.
Yeah, well,
Godzilla.
People like cats for some reason.
There we go. There's the X. Thank God. Godzilla's OBS. Install an ad blocker on your shit. You just change your UI to use Brave, and we're good. Anyway, turn on that pesky ad block. Anyway,
exactly.
Cosmic Book News.
Oh, isn't that the cat's ass?
Cosmic Book News has Godzilla's Mothra has more personality than Captain Marvel goes viral. Captain Marvel's been in the news a little bit this week. We're going to briefly touch on another appearance of Captain Marvel in Comic Book News today. But see where this goes. A meme is currently going viral on Reddit that offers Godzilla, King of the Monsters Mothra has more personality than Captain Marvel Brie Larson. Recall that Brie Larson also starred in the MonsterVerse movie Kong of Skull Island. The meme posted to Godzilla, which has over 300 upvotes. That's viral? Okay. Features rapper Drake putting his hand to Captain Marvel Brie Larson, but being happy and pointing at Mothra, Godzilla from Godzilla King of Monsters. Well, Mothra is prettier.
That's and more colorful.
Fans still don't like Captain Marvel Brie Larson. Okay, so can someone actually tell me what the role of Brie Larson was in Kong? Questioned Redditor user PSB911406. That's great. That's who you chose to quote. Felt so unnecessary. Honestly, felt like you could consolidate the biologist and Larson to create one character, and it wouldn't make a difference to the story as a whole. Oh my goodness, little girl.
No, Skull Island, is that the one with Jack Black?
No idea. Not a Godzilla guy. F's in the chat for my reputation.
King Kong.
Exactly. That's as much as I know.
I don't know, because I don't remember her being in a King Kong movie. Maybe she's just she's that forgettable.
She is that forgettable. That's for definite. Another fan remarked, at least the movie version is better than the comic book version. MCU Captain Marvel greater than 616 Captain Marvel personality-wise, trust me. Her comics are politically contentious and pretentious. She is also the main antagonist of Civil War II. Even. Okay, so this guy does not know how to actually make. He can't even. Reddit user a True Blue Gamer posted in the comments. Per the norm, some of Marvel Zombie fans defended Captain Marvel, but other Godzilla fans managed to chime in with their opinion as well. I have nothing against her. I like Brie Larson when she did Kong, but I really couldn't get into Captain Marvel. Better in Endgame, in my opinion. Noted Unlikely Kaiju, pointing out bad character isn't inherently sexual. Dude Eternal responded to accusations of the sub being filled with misogyny and sexism. Captain Marvel only successful because of Avengers movie. Interestingly enough, while Captain Marvel movie made over $1 billion at the box office, Marvel Studios had yet to officially announce or give the sequel a release date. A lot of people think the only reason Captain Marvel did so well at the box office is that Marvel Studios sandwiched it between his two biggest movies of all time, with Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. More than likely, an Ant-Man movie would have hit the $1 billion mark if it was released in the same spot. So, what is Captain Marvel going to do when she doesn't have two Avengers movies to promote it? Well, of course, that could be why the sequel hasn't officially been announced, which is because it is awesome. My daughter again. I don't know if she picked up by the mic. I don't know. Did you hear?
Yeah, I heard that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, that would be why the sequel hasn't officially been announced, which is because Marvel realizes the only way the character in films will be a success is if Captain Marvel and Brie Larson ride on their coattails of the Avengers films. As noted above, the comics are horrible and have been rebooted many times. I think we're up to 7 or 9 times at this point.
Jeez.
By Marvel Comics in various attempts to sell the character to its audience, which, similar to the movie, fails time and time again. Avengers Endgame director Anthony Russo's reaction to fans choosing Brie Larson Captain Marvel as the least powerful among a group of Marvel characters was also priceless. There's a video there. But this wasn't Captain Marvel's only foray into the news this week. So, apparently, a pornography studio has released Captain Marvel porn parody. And the character they have...
Go ahead. Did I send you that one?
No, you didn't. And I thought about pulling it up, but I was like,
Okay.
we're not going to spend the whole show talking about Brie Larson.
Because I definitely saw that. I was like, oh, should I send him this one? I don't know if we should talk, if that'll fit what we're doing tonight. It's like, I'll skip it. Anyways.
Oh, man. No, Matt Christie in the chat. Plank of Wood has more personality. Oh, my God. Obi, everything's just a disaster right now. I don't know why. I guess because we're doing a show. Fuck
Probably.
me, right? I've been planning this, everything's been quiet. Now my daughters won't leave us alone. They're supposed to be in bed, but no, they can't just go to bed.
No,
just
why would that be fun?
Yeah, no, they can't just go to bed when they're supposed to, like, normal children.
Hey, I mean, it's like the things that you used to not like as a kid, you appreciate more as an adult, like naps and spankings.
Absolutely. Also, I don't know why my is going insane right now either. If you guys are having problems, let me know. And I don't think there's anything else I can close to bring it back. But it says our frame rate keeps dropping down to 0 and going back up. Lemoyne's disease ravaged lung has more personality, to be fair. He would tell you that Captain Marvel is a con slut. I saw her first on IMDb.
See, now you got Church doing that. Anyways.
I saw her list on IMDb, and the rotten little madam landed herself a role with Chris Evans beforehand. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Yeah, she was in that. I think that everybody said that Katie Sackhoff would have done a great job as Captain Marvel, and I'm inclined to agree.
Who's that?
Katie Sackhoff, the girl that played Starbuck in the reboot of Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, okay.
I can bring
with like celebrity name.
I can bring a photo of her up. Exciting radio here, but no, the Captain Marvel porn parody came out this week, and the lady that they chose to be Captain Marvel just was obviously much better looking. The outfit was even better, I think, in the porn parody than in the MCU. I'm not sure how that works, but whatever. See if I can find a decent picture of Katie Sackhoff.
I'm waiting for somebody to do a side-by-side like comparison review between the actual MCU movie and the porn parody.
It will not be us. We will not be reviewing the porn on this channel. Sorry, we may start up a Pornhub channel, but whatever.
We'll go do it over on D Live.
That's right. Well, no. Yeah, Matt Christie's already familiar with who Katie is. But let me throw an image up there for anybody that might not be. What?
He's familiar with the porn parody already? Is that what you said?
I said he's familiar with Katie Sackhoff.
Oh.
That's Katie Sackhoff. I think she would have been a great Captain Marvel. She's, got the look. She's got the right color hair. This is Church of being driven crazy by my daughters who refused to lay down because they took late naps. Told you, this is going to be a train wreck, and it's going to be great. That's Katie Sackhoff, everybody. That's who should have been Captain Marvel, in my opinion.
We have the best train wrecks.
Wait, what do you... No, I'm not sure what you mean, Brett, or I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Imbrecht? Arcanus. I'll go with that. But I'm not sure what you mean by the gender bending. They did give Miss Marvel the Captain Marvel mantle, but it's like I've said on this channel before. Captain Marvel started off as an alien named Marvel. Then there was the African American woman who used the title only. She didn't have like the power set of a Kree or anything. And then they gave Miss Marvel the mantle, and yeah, it's so weird. And they tried to push it so hard. But
Yeah, it's like, well, they even tried going as so far as replacing like the Spider-Man face on Marvel Comics, didn't they? Like
I
trying
don't.
to make her like the flagship Marvel
Oh
character or
yeah,
something. They did
absolutely.
something like
Yeah, they've been trying to push and sell her for so long, and it's deplorable, honestly. Like I don't understand why. Just create new good characters and not like why would you try and push the character that everyone hates after Civil War 2? Just so stupid. But
well, then why would you try and like upstage Spider-Man with her?
yeah, no shit.
Like with the
Oh,
history that Spider-Man has.
Starbuck. Yeah, gender bending that character, but that was then revealed later on to be like in the way future of Battlestar Galactica. Like it was supposed to be like the next generation, and it was the show that the whole um, what was it? The whole cyclical process of the Battlestar universe. From what I got from it, I could be way off base. It's been probably 20 years since I saw an episode of the original. I did watch those movies that were made from clips of the Battlestar Galactica show. Those are pretty good. But everybody's favorite uncle in comics is in the news this week. Ethan Van Sciver talked about this on his show, and again, Cosmic Book has these amazing advertisements that I wish they could kill with fire.
Those
But
didn't pop up on my phone when I was looking for stuff and sent them to you. Oh, my bad.
I'm sure they didn't. You knew what you were doing. Ethan
When
Van
have I known what I've been
No.
doing?
Good point. Good point.
That is a baseless accusation.
It came back. It went away and came back. I hate everything right now. Oh my god. Ethan Van Sciver thinks Green Lantern TV series is happening. So apparently this news article was written by someone who just watched his live stream and is reporting on it. So that's fantastic. So I like Cosmic Book though, so we'll see where this goes. Responding to my earlier article, former DC Comics artist Ethan Van Sciver actually thinks the rumored Green Lantern Corps TV series for HBO Max is possible. Van Sciver points out that DC Comics recently contacted him to get an updated bio for the Green Lantern Rebirth reprint that comes out early next year. He thinks the rumored TV series may be the reason why. Yesterday, I got this kind of message from DC Comics in my email that basically said, "Hey, you want to rewrite your bio? We know the bio we use for the comics. We're re-releasing your run on Green Lantern, specifically Green Lantern Rebirth, in a new hardcover, and we want to make sure we update your bio." Van Sciver posted on his Comic Artist Pro Secrets YouTube channel. Then I thought, why are we doing this? Why are they releasing Green Lantern Rebirth again? Well, I guess this is why. Green Lantern Corps rumored for HBO Max. Ethan Van Sciver then went on over how the 2011 Green Lantern movie was a complete disaster and continued to mention how he would have done a trilogy that would have started on Earth in the first movie, then Part 2 would have gone to space and Oa, with Part 3 exploring the emotional spectrum. which I would watch the hell out of that. I'm not even going to lie.
Oh yeah, that would be fantastic.
Anybody out there listening, Warner Brothers Studios, AT&T, obviously if one of you are in the or in the watching pool or see this later, hire Ethan Van Sciver. Oh my God, these ads! Hire Ethan Van Sciver to do a movie trilogy, and I'm gonna have to contact Cosmic Book and tell them that I want my cut of these ad butts.
Right.
Ethan Van Sciver then went on.
Warner Brothers.
Oh yeah,
would make so much money if you had him write the Green Lantern movie trilogy.
And just let him put his vision of Green, because his Green Lanterns are so good, and even though he's a quote unquote racist, sexist, misogynistic asshole, what was the Green Lantern he created again? Oh yeah, Jessica Cruz, the Hispanic female. Didn't he create another female character for Marvel Comics? What was she? Muslim? Dusk? Racist misogynist creates two females of color.
Yeah.
Seems legit.
See, I would request one thing from his second movie where it goes to space, is that the squirrel Green Lantern has to be at least a not major, but like a larger minor character, because that's probably, as far as all the alien Green Lanterns go, the squirrel's definitely the best.
Well, I would argue with you about that, but we don't have time for that. Yeah, I think so, but we don't have time to argue about that right now. That'll take up 2 whole shows.
He's a squirrel. He's a squirrel with 2 tails that uses a Green Lantern ring. Come on.
There's a planet that's a Green Lantern, Ayrton.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not Oa. It's just there's a planet that's a Green Lantern. Van Sciver also agreed the potential series couldn't be on the CW. If you want to make a really good, sophisticated superhero show that can compete with something like Amazon Prime's The Boys, but not be as vicious as The Boys, but something that feels substantial and feels cinematic, I think it's best to go to HBO and not the CW. Van Sciver continues by stating he would love to see Stell in the series and thinks it would use the Guardians and that Guy Gardner could be a possibility. The rumor also offered that Arrowverse's Greg Berlanti is developing the series, and on a related note, Comic-Con insiders filled me in that J.J. Abrams is tackling Green Lantern on the big screen. That, unfortunately, does not instill me with confidence.
No,
there's a video that we're not gonna watch. You can check that out. It's over on Comic Artist Pro Secrets. Ethan makes pretty good videos, so if you want to get his take on it besides these quotes, but that could be exciting. If they did something that was even in the same vein as The Boys with Green Lantern, I would watch the hell out of that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because it's been... there was a cartoon movie several years ago, but besides that, that's the only good
novel, bro. OBS has an internal browser that they interact with. That way I don't have to use up a lot of bandwidth doing screen shares in between and flip in between the actual browser and my OBS, so you just load it up in the OBS browser. There's just no ad block in that. So if I was to pipe Brave through OBS, it would just make the stream even worse than it already is. Oh my goodness. I give up. I'm just going to let my daughter run the show. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go to bed since she won't.
What am I supposed to do?
I don't know. Listen to her. She's the boss. Novel Bro says, to be fair, Muslim characters would make the MCU quite based. Captain Marvel is an infidel. Her head should be reaped from her shoulders. Allahu Akbar. Well, I do want to point out that there was a recent issue of Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, who is also from Muslim background, and they were in the store, and bacon was labeled infidel meat in the comic.
Huh.
So, I don't know that you're going to get the results you want. But anyway.
How can you not eat bacon? You know, that's if we could just get Jews and Muslims to just have a BLT, I think the conflict in the Middle East would stop.
All right.
Did I break the stream?
No, I had to turn my mic off to yell at the 2-year-old climbing on the table.
Fair enough.
Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Now we go back to CBR because, you know, when you want comic book news, this is the last place you want to be. But they're talking about Brazil, and Brazilian mayor Blast Marvel orders police sweep of Young Avengers books. So, you know, Novel Bro was talking about based in the chat earlier. Well, Brazil apparently is pretty based. On Wednesday, September 4th, Rio de Janeiro's mayor, Marcelo Crivella, ordered a sweeping of the book Avengers the Children's Crusade at the Rio Centro Bienal do Livro, something Brazilian. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. You go ahead with this. I'll be right back in a moment.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get the article pulled up. I know this is exciting radio, folks. Listen to me try and find an article. And I guarantee I won't be able to pronounce these words any better than Church does. Brazil. Let's see. Oh, come on. Where is it? There we go. I don't know if this is the same article. Yeah. Sweeping of the book. Blah,
All right,
blah, blah,
I'm back.
Brazil's most important literary event. Oh, okay.
Sorry about that, guys. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to go put them to bed again. Can't. Anyway. In a video that Crivella published on social media, he stated that this 264-page volume contained sexual content targeting minors. His goal was to protect Rio's children. However, the organizers of the Bienal refused to comply with the mayor's order, firstly because it went against their values, but mostly because the volume in question sold out 2 days before that order arrived. In Avengers the Children's Crusade by Alan Heinberg and Jim Chung, 2 members of the Young Avengers, Wiccan and Hulkling become a couple, and am I reading this right? A moment the pair seal with a kiss. Okay, I see it. I went retarded on that one. Sorry, guys. The story was originally published in the USA between 2010 and 2012, and it arrived in Brazil in monthly issues translated into Portuguese in 2012. 2016, Editorial Salvat partnered with Panini Comics to publish a hardcover luxury edition. In other words, Wiccan and Hulkling's love story has been circulating in Brazil since 2012. The newly contentious volume dates back to 2016. It wasn't until Wednesday of the week that Rio de Janeiro councilman Andre, well, these fucking names, man. Alexandre Esquerdo took the Tribune to blast against Marvel's cap. Yeah, you went to Peru. You say the damn name.
Well, this is Portuguese, not Spanish.
Not my problem. Do it.
Technically, my name is from Brazil, so
there you go. Against Marvel's coward attempt to propagate homosexuality amongst our children, while simultaneously stating the outrage was not homophobic. That does seem a little counterintuitive there, buddy. You gotta pick one or the other. On Thursday, September 5th, Mayor Crivella, through the Secretary of Municipal Public Order, SIP, ordered that the organizers and Nal de Livro should immediately remove every volume of the Avengers the Children's Crusade from every stand or risk arrest and loss of their license. The same afternoon, Rio City Hall dispatched the municipal guards to carry the sweeping. However, after briefly talking with the organizers, the agent left the premises. According to O Globo, that is a very unfortunate name, guys. As soon as the news of Crivella's sweeping order reached the exhibitors, some tried to purchase the stock of their neighbors, anticipating a high demand for the volume because everything that's forbidden sells really well. Organizers from Benel de Livro, fucking, how many times do they say this in this article? Because it's just terrible.
It's really just to fuck with shows like us that have to read it over and over and don't actually know how to pronounce it.
That's right. I apologize to anybody that's Spanish speaking in the audience. This is just, or Portuguese speaking. I corrected myself. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sir. Thank you. The absolute support of the LGBTQA plus community. God damn. Acronym just keeps getting longer. And their commitment to defending their right to have a voice. Yeah, silent, yeah. As it should be in any democracy. They have also noted in the event of a visitor acquired a book that wasn't to their liking, they can always exchange it for another. The legal justification for the sweeping alleged that the Avengers the Children Crusade broke Article 78 and 79 of the Children and Teenager Statutes. According to Article 78, any publication with content unsuitable for children and teenagers should be sold sealed and marked with a warning, and the covers with pornographic or obscene images should be hidden with opaque paper. Article 79 specifies that any publication targeting minors should not contain illustrations, photos, graphics, articles, advertisements of alcoholic drinks, tobacco, weapons, and munition. They should respect the ethical and societal values of the individual and of the family. However, the application of these statutes to Avengers the Children's Crusade is in direct contradiction with Brazil's 1988 constitution, where it is explicitly said that media censorship would no longer be applied. It's also in blatant contradiction to the standards applied with other superhero comics that contain not only many heterosexual couples kissing, but also a considerable amount of depictions of weapons and munitions. Most experts agreed that this sweeping was an act of pure censorship, and a clumsy one at that, to have any validity, and I agree with that, by the way. While I am not a fan of this book or this story, and I will get into that after the article, but I agree that this is just a blatant act of censorship. They want to buy it, let them buy it. It's capitalism, baby. And a clumsy one at that. To have any validity, it should have been enacted through a judicial decree, and even in that case, it would still be challenged in court. The religious and political motivations behind the sweeping were also quite transparent. Marcelo Crivella has been repeatedly connected with the UCKG, the Universal Church for Kingdom of God, evangelical religious organization with deep roots in Latin America, considered a commercial church that has now campaigned for Crivella in the past, which, according to Brazilian law, is illegal and is unabashedly homophobic. So, what we've got here is a situation where somebody basically tried to use religion to censor a comic book, and this was the image in question. Now, again, this doesn't really appeal to me. I think that they really need to move sexuality out of mainstream comic books. Back in the day where they did the similar thing with, the Vertigo line, where your more adult stories, if you're going to have a lot of sex or gore or anything like that, was in a Vertigo offshoot. Because, again, I don't want my kids seeing, Batman having sex with Catwoman or Batgirl on a rooftop or anything like that. Just as much as
or
I don't
Batstick at all.
Right. I don't I don't think that comic books are the place for that kind of thing on the spinner rack. If you make these comic books, by all means, make them. But again, you really need to have them in a situation where parents can adequately judge the content of these books without having to know every little intricate detail of every panel. Back in the day, it was pretty easy. DC comics were safe. Vertigo comics were sketchy. That's the way it went. John Constantine just murdered people outright, sold his soul, sold people's souls.
I mean, there's some people's souls that I would enjoy selling.
Right. I mean, and let people make the choice for themselves, but at the same time, do a better job of policing your industry and the content of its product. Batman should never be sexual. I don't think anything with the word Avengers on it should ever be sexual. Because it's going to appeal to a 7-year-old by that name as much as it does a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that they should have censored this book specifically, but I think the comic industry needs to do a better job of, keeping its own house clean. I don't know that, what we went on with the Comics Code Authority was the right answer again, but I do think that the overwhelming amount of political and sexual and stuff like that, I feel like comics have they've screwed themselves from being able to replenish their readership, if that makes sense. Because there aren't, if you go to a comic store and you look at any Marvel and DC book, what's the age range on it? Teen plus.
Pretty much all teen. Yeah.
Right. Teen plus. Alterna Comics, again, here's our weekly shill for Alterna Comics.
Well, Showly.
Yeah.
For Alterna Comics at the
point. But Alterna Comics has 3 very separate and very vast levels and age groups. You've got all ages, teens, and adults. Very simple. I think mainstream Marvel and DC Comics forgot that their bread and butter is making sure that 7-8-year-old who's just now getting into reading stuff and enjoying fantasy and stuff like that, you're never going to recapture that market if there's no books that parents can buy for them. They don't give a shit about Looney Tunes. They want Spider-Man. They want Captain America.
Yeah.
The only all-ages books that I see in my shop a lot of the times is stuff like Sonic. And, mostly adults buy that crap, too. So, making a book all ages doesn't...
They should make Sonic... At this point, they should make Sonic mature. And then make, Spider-Man, The Flash, Superman, all ages. I mean, really...
Well, even if you want to put out your gory Superman or Batman or Flash or whatever, even if you want to put those books out there needs to be a divide. You need to have an all-ages book for every character that you want to push, because how are you going to replenish the market of teenagers in these comic books? And I think Marvel and DC are seeing that, and that's why they're doing so poorly. Because...
yeah,
their old readers are dying off. They're diehards that bought every issue of The Flash. They're dying off, or they're stopped spending money because they remember when comic books cost $1 and not $5.
Yeah, and when they were good.
New kids, new teenagers, they're buying manga if they're buying anything. And speaking of which, we need to go ahead and get that show scheduled where we have Captain Weeb on to talk manga with us. That'd be good.
Oh yeah, we do.
But
yeah, well, when I was at my comic shop this week, this I don't know, 7 to 9-year-old kid, somewhere in that kind of age, came in with his mom, and as they were walking towards the back where all the racks were, I heard him all excited, I want to look for, their Flash comic books. I'm just thinking, what have they even done with the Flash recently that a kid this age could read?
Yeah, and
You know?
I'm seeing in the chat everybody. I mean, it's a pretty standard opinion. Leave the sexuality to all adult only teen plus books, but don't market them in a way that they can easily be accessed by anybody. And
Yeah.
I think it's the fact that they can't be accessed as far as story content because, again, I think that's the biggest problem is that there's no E for everyone Spider-Man, Superman, Batman book. I mean, bring back Batman the Animated Series title, for God's sake. Bring back that art style, bring back that book title, and just make a Batman book that I can give my 7-year-old kid without having to worry about Bruce Wayne's Wang coming out.
Right. Or going and buying those cheap, like
I mean, I'm a responsible parent when
kid books.
When I buy my kids a comic book, I'm definitely going to read it because I'm a responsible human being. But not everybody is. And the comic industry doesn't give a damn about children anymore. That's what it seems like, and that's sad.
Yeah. I mean, even if I was to go and buy some for like my niece or nephew, totally reading it first to make sure that's appropriate.
You know what? If I go and buy a comic book for my kids at Alterna, I don't feel like I have to. Right. I don't feel like I have to worry about reading it because I trust Peter Simeti and I trust the people at Alterna to make the decisions based on the idea of a small kid might read this. They might be buying this to give out as a Halloween gift with Alternaween. Maybe I need to do my job and make sure that this is age appropriate for this all ages tag. So,
and just so you all know out there, we are not sponsored by Alterna, although it might seem like we might be. But
I don't
Peter,
think I don't think Peter.
If you want to throw a few shekels our way,
Nah, please don't. Please don't. Peter Simeti does not endorse anything we do or say.
That's probably better for his business model if he doesn't do that.
I would think so, yes. And that's not a stab at us either. I get it, man. You're doing great things. You just keep doing great things and don't let us fuck that up for you.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, that's just something that I've always kind of maintained is that kids don't have comics anymore. And they do, but they don't. I can't introduce my kid to Spider-Man unless I go all the way back to the late 70s, early 90s. Mrs. Church says the Narwhal comics are appropriate. Yes, they are, and I think those are published by Scholastic or something. But my 4-year-old has taken a liking to a Narwhal comic series, so I've been looking for the rest of those for her. One last article before we get to. Go ahead.
I said, why not? Yeah. Narwhals sounds fun.
One last article is kind of a. Well, actually, let's do the Memology video and then talk about that, and then get into the last palate cleansing article we have. So
I can dig it.
Memology, again, another creator that you should definitely be following. The link for this video is in the description down below. If you're not subbed to his channel, probably should be because he's on point with pretty much everything that he talks about there. I'm going to go ahead and mute us, and then we will get right into playing this video. So.
simple. We killed the Batman.
I had so many asthma attacks. I used to call my asthma something else.
I called it
Okay, we're not going to listen to that advert either. But uh,
All these
Heather
ads.
Antos is interested in canceling the Joker because of its being problematic. So, you know, I even responded to her on Twitter for this, and you know, I just wanted to know where these hot takes were when you know, Marvel put out the Captain Marvel book, and nobody liked it except her. You know, we were all incels and misogynist and sexist and all that good stuff. But Memology, yeah, Matt Christie's been following him since he started. Yeah, I first heard about him on the Kill stream, and you know, he made, I believe, 1 or 2 appearances as Discount Dame Pesos. But no, he did a really good video there, and you know, explained basically how she's trying to cancel this movie because it's problematic for her. And somebody even went a little further and a few tweets and said something along the lines of Harley Quinn is homicidal, and you know, she has a backstory that shows her the tragic character. You know, yeah, I don't want to see a film. Then don't see it. You're absolutely right, Matt. But she couldn't. Like,
I'm not gonna go see it just because I think it looks kind of dumb.
I don't know.
Personally.
I'm probably gonna go see it now just because Heather Antos doesn't want me to.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
And I
they,
get that.
you know, one thing that they point out is she's an editor with Valiant Comics, and for those of you not familiar with Valiant Comics, it started out as a very similar brand to what Marvel started out as. It was a very small publishing company that shared a universe, and one of their one of their projects, something I liked very much, was a comic called Bloodshot. I think we may have briefly talked about Jason David Frank playing the character Bloodshot on a episode 10 years ago. That's what it seems like. But Bloodshot is basically a killer for the military. She just doesn't like it because it's about a man who gets beat down in life. Yeah. That's not so. Well, it's about a white man that gets beat down in life. Let's not forget that. I wonder what her take would be if this was a man of color, or a gay man. But no,
or a gay Latino tranny midget.
Oh God,
who's disabled.
Oh well, it would already have some Oscars. The movie would end with him joining Antifa as their star member,
as their leader.
Yeah, the white man who becomes a killer. Yeah, and she tries to correlate it with the Joker killing when Dark Knight Returns came out or whatever, or Dark Knight came out. I don't buy it. In fact, that guy never identified himself as the Joker. The media did, just like it said in the video that you just saw. But no, she worked for Valiant Comics, and she's trying to burn down a DC property. That just doesn't seem weird at all, right?
Yeah, it's almost like it's ingenuine, and she's just
disingenuous,
trying to do it to get media buzz. Yes, disingenuous. Thank you.
Yeah, but it just kind of goes to show that this cancel culture crap is going too far. Has no bearing on the actual validity of the movie. Bad movies failed before cancel culture. Movies with bad takes failed before cancel culture. Actual critics did their job, but you can see, like with the Dave Chappelle Sticks and Stones ratio, 99% of audience scores liked it, 17% of critics, and I'm just like, what? So critics are irrelevant. They don't
like.
But
well, there's only like 9 critics who reviewed Dave Chappelle's special.
Yeah.
And I think 7 of them are trans.
Yeah.
And every single one of them complained that he made some jokes about trans people.
Right. I mean, Dave Chappelle makes jokes about everybody.
Exactly.
But it goes to show that critics are irrelevant in today's era. Like, it's all about an agenda. It's all about trying to push a narrative. And it's disgusting. You can't have your own opinion anymore. If you do, you're a Nazi. That's disgusting. But like I said, she works for Valiant Comics. She's an editor there, and her mark as editor launched that brand from being something that was actually on the way up, on the way to being built up and being done well, to a complete SJW trash fire. The sales fell off. People just don't care anymore. My shop stopped buying it because people stopped buying the books. The first thing she did when she got there, if I'm not mistaken, was she was very instrumental in creating a character by the name of Faith. And Faith is an overweight female superhero.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Isn't there one of those in the Great Lakes Avengers with Squirrel Girl?
Yeah, but she was a supermodel. She has the ability to change her mass at random.
Yeah.
Or not at random.
At will.
Saying no data, but still on, so not sure what that means. Okay, there we go. We're back. I don't know if we just effed for a minute or what, but she pretty much led that company into an SJW trash fire, and that's what these people do. That's how they operate. So, what are you gonna do? But I did save. Go ahead.
Oh, I said up is down, black is white, hot is cold.
Hong Kong, Clown
War
World.
is peace.
Well, I did save the best for last as far as a bit of a palate cleanser here. Mrs. Church showed this to me earlier this week, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. Iron Man statue honors hero's death in Avengers Endgame. So they've erected a everyone has always loved Tony Stark, also known as Iron Man. But after the cinematic death in Avengers Endgame, everyone fell even harder for Mr. Stark, if that's even possible. Now there is an actual real-life statue where you can pay your respects to Tony Stark Iron Man thanks to artist Daniele Basso. Basso created the first ever monument, located in Italy in celebration of Iron Man himself, honoring the character's heroic death in Avengers Endgame. Marvel fans everywhere remember how Stark sacrificed himself in order to defeat Thanos and save the rest of the world. And now there's a statue to honor him. There's a little misspelling there. The plaque accompanying the statue is written in Italian, of course, but roughly translates to the first monument dedicated to Iron Man in the death in the cinematic world. We celebrate Tony Stark as a man who dedicated his life, fortunes to fight for the ideals he believes in, reminding us we are all the protagonists of our time. The future of humanity depends on our decisions, that all of us must be heroes. See what the statue in Italy looks like in the tweet below. And it is they say that the actual direct translation of Iron Man on the plaque is Man of Steel. But yeah, it's beautiful. Let me see if I can enlarge this here. Large it. And I open up my Twitter just to pull that up. But it's statue rather. It's made out of just solid steel. I thought that was yeah. But you don't get that shimmer without with
right?
iron. What now?
Yeah, that's true. I said that's true. That's a gorgeous statue, though.
Yeah, iron's gonna rust, all that good stuff. But
yeah.
I just figured that was kind of a feel good, just a feel good thing because Tony Stark was pretty fantastic. There's a little bit more here. This isn't the only way fans are remembering Iron Man. Ever since the 2019 box office hit, fans have been getting tattoos of Tony Stark, cosplaying as him at Comic-Cons all around the world, for rewatching the MCU films on repeat, which you will soon be able to do on Disney's new streaming service, Disney Plus, on November 12th. Nice little plug there. Recently at D23 Expo, Robert Downey was honored with the Disney Legends Award. He originally made his Disney debut in the 2006 film, The Shaggy Dog. He would go on to fill the shoes of Iron Man and Incredible Hulk, Captain America Civil War, and 4 other Avengers films. What about Iron Man?
I mean, those ones seem obvious. Like, you don't really have to list those.
Yeah. But I think it's safe to say, Mr. Tony Stark, we love you 3000. What? Oh, right, from the Endgame quote. Get it now.
Yeah.
But I was touched by that. It's really cool to see more superheroes given a fair shake. My carbon steel will corrode so quickly.
Well, and that going back to what we always say, that comic books are modern day mythology.
Yeah.
Like, this is a real world manifestation of that idea. Like, somebody literally built a monument to this fictional character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like there aren't Superman statues and Batman statues and stuff like that, but I do believe that is the first.
I'm not criticizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing it, but it goes to show that we're right. This really, it's something more than just stories at this point. These characters transcend.
Oh yeah, dude, these characters, and I mean, Tony Stark is just. Mrs. Church says it even. My mom isn't watching any more superhero movies since he died. People loved him. And that's absolutely true. In fact, I did see something while I was looking for some articles. I didn't go into it because, I already had so much that I wanted to talk about on this show. But apparently he's supposed to return to the MCU, and people are already saying that plan is stupid. If you saw anything about that, go ahead and fill us in real quick.
So the Ironheart show on Disney Plus, he's just voicing the AI.
Oh, right.
Whatever the name of that AI is, like Paul Bettany voiced Jarvis. So it's not Tony Stark isn't returning, just Robert Downey Jr. is going to voice the AI as a nice little.
Oh, and they'll have him as a hologram too at some point.
Probably. I mean,
we have we have an actual intelligent conversation going on in the chat about the production of that statue. I'll put it up on Twitter and Discord and see if I can find out what the actual contents of it were, so you guys can talk about that. But yeah, high carbon steel will corrode so quickly. Looks like stainless, high nickel content. Could use Corten steel too. They make a steel alloy with copper that I've seen sit in the rain for many years with no rust on it. So yeah. Done some electrical discharge machining to smooth out the surface. I mean, these guys know what they're talking about. It's fantastic.
Jeez.
Yeah, you guys keep going on that. We do have a couple of books that we read for you this week, and both of them are
our chat is too smart for us.
They are. They're smarter than we are, and that's fantastic. You're the smartest person in the room. You need to go into a different room.
I agree with that.
I would have used titanium myself. Plastic. Probably expensive though.
Yeah, it would. Would have been cool though.
What's that one metal? I should know. My wedding band's made out of it. Tungsten.
Oh, yeah.
Tungsten doesn't scratch. Very high, very prone to shattering though, from what I understand. But,
Really?
yeah, it's prone to shattering, but it's scratch resistant and it's very durable. I don't know.
Yeah, I knew it was like scratch resistant and stuff. I didn't know it was prone to shattering.
Yeah, that's what I was told anyway from somebody that works with metal. Got it for me. But we do have some comics that we looked at this week. We'll start with the one that Ayrton picked. It's actually a little bit older. Issue 2 came out this week, but there we go.
But I got issue 1 and issue 2 this week, so
we're gonna be looking at Knight's Temporal from Aftershock Comics,
which this will be the second Aftershock series that I've picked up so far this year and really liked. So
Aftershock's a pretty good publisher. They're out there. I just don't know anything about them personally.
Yeah, definitely. At least this and Killer Groove, very, very like maybe teen plus on the low end, depending on the issue, but it's pretty graphic in some parts.
Yeah. The creators of this issue, or of this story, Cullen Bunn, the writer, Fran Galan is the artist, and David Sharp is the letterer. Cullen and David are both on Twitter if you want to check them out and some of their other works. Previously, the writer worked on Dark Ark, Unholy Grail, The Sixth Gun. The Sixth Gun is something that I'm very fond of. Or no, is it The Sixth Gun? It might be. We'll have to look at that because there's a gun story that I want to read before God Gun comes out. That's Von Klaus's next project, the guy that did Monster MD. God Gun, and it looks fantastic, very steampunkish. He also works on X-Men Blue and Monsters Unleashed, and numerous Deadpool comics for Marvel. So he's got a pretty good writing background. Fran Galan has worked on several comics that I've never heard of. El Torres, Tales from the Suicide Forest, and the graphic novel Goya the Sublime Terrible, which is apparently awarded Best Graphic Novel in Grid. So, got that going for him. And this book it's great art. It's beautiful art. You can see it on the screen already. Just the first page is already just, oh my God! Look at the lighting in that middle panel there, where it's breaking over the trees.
Oh yeah, this opening section is like super like on your seat, sort of intense.
And the lettering,
and there's a nice little big switch too. But
yeah, the lettering it's not Eric Weathers, but it's legible, it's readable. I didn't have a hard time reading it, so works pretty well. And talk about that for just a second. The lettering in a comic book. I'd love to get Eric Weathers on to talk about this as well. Down and see if he'll come on and shoot the breeze with us about lettering. But there is an art to lettering a comic book. A lot of people think that it's just plugging in fonts and stuff like that. But even in just doing the little thumbnails for my video or for my my shows, it's hard to place some letters in those bubbles if you don't know what you're doing. Because you got to get the spacing right. You got to be able to get everything you mean to get in there. You don't want to obscure too much of the images. there's a lot going on with lettering that a lot of people don't think about, and you don't even really notice it, but changes in boldness and italicizing certain words and stuff like that.
Right. Well, there's even a character in here that kind of talks with like a sing-song type of voice, and
Right,
there's
you got
accents in her speech bubbles to emphasize that, which I really enjoyed.
Right. So the lettering in and of itself is an art form, So
Well, and to go back to ARBBH, what was it, like halfway through the second issue?
yeah,
They
the lettering,
made
they had to pull
Parsanovich
lettering.
stop. So they had to make Parsanovich stop lettering it because it wasn't legible half the time.
Right. So,
And Don Ching confirmed that was an actual thing that happened, and they just added the conversation into the comic book because it was funny.
right.
And I love that.
So, just to get into this, this was your pick. So why don't you talk
Yes.
us through it and let me know what pages you want to bring up.
Yeah, I will try my best to communicate that through a hard copy to the digital one you have. It's
Well, this one,
yeah, so that
this one. Just tell me the page, and I'll up it by one because the cover is page 1 on the digital copy. So,
oh, okay. Yeah, so that first opening shot we were talking about, we have a cloaked figure, the red beard, being chased by men on horses, and I kind of thought he was going to be the protagonist of this story at first.
well,
Right? Did you get?
he's been chased by people on horses, but this entire cavalcade is his people. Like
Yeah,
this opening shot, these are all his people. So just to clarify that, the people chasing him aren't that close, but yeah, I did think that he was going to be. But then again, by the time you get down to that bottom panel, that grin kind of gives it away, I think.
right. Yeah, I thought he was just being tricky when I saw it, but so what would this be? Page 3, the dude on the floor with his guts bubbling out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring that up.
Okay.
So he basically poisons them. Doesn't really explain how. And one of their men goes down, and a very graphic image right there, which I love, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Did you find it? Hold on. Screen share's not up. Let's go back to the dream page.
Come on. It's still coming.
Come on. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're so good at this, folks.
There we go.
Let's see here. Stop it. I'm so good at technology. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that one.
That top panel on the second page is what you're referring to, the top couple panels there.
Correct. And he then escapes into some woods. And the leader of this band, which we really don't know anything about yet, decides to follow him in. Then
the guy in the guy in the beginning's name is Gaspard, and we find out that he's a sorcerer, and he's poisoned someone in his in the, what is it, the pursuant brigade. That's going after him. But his name is Gaspard, and then the guy going after him that looks kind of like Squall Lionheart from Final Fantasy VIII, with that fur around his or around the collar. His name is Auguste.
Yeah, Auguste something.
Yeah, so it's Auguste, and that's the actual true protagonist of the story. So, to fill everybody in. But go ahead.
Yeah, and then we jump to New York City.
Yep. Once they go into the woods, once they go into the woods, the entire scenery and overlay of their clothes and everything change. I'll pull that up. Go ahead and keep going.
Yeah, and so we see him now being called August, chasing down somebody through the city streets, and some girl following him, supposedly helping him out. And what page would that be?
Her name is Jane Fool. She's introduced.
Yeah.
The page you're looking for the initial them running through. Yes.
Oh no, I was talking page 6, so that would be 7 on the digital.
Okay.
Where
they catch up to the decoy
creature. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one he's kicking down here at the bottom. So I'm going to save a page and we'll.
Okay. Well, it's an awesome shot when the creature is a homunculi, which is what's the best way to explain what that means?
Basically a thrall.
Like a living. Yeah.
It's like it's an artificial thrall that was created to be a servant.
Yeah, kind of like the golems in Jewish mythology would be the best thing I can think of.
Oy vey.
What? That's a thing. They're rock monsters that are summoned as like protectors and servants.
So one thing,
it's an actual thing. If you don't believe me, look it up.
Oh, I'm well aware. I'm just screwing with you. But one thing that I will say, at first when I was reading through this, very disjointed, very hard to kind of figure out what's going on. But
yeah,
that's intentional.
Right.
You know, so you realize that it's a warrior going up against a shepherd, and the reason that I wanted to save the page was because the page that I'm about to bring up next is oh god, no, I'm gonna have to break my rule, and we're gonna have to do 8 pages instead of 6 on this one because there is that full page splash that I have to show too.
Oh yeah, but
that just gorgeous, just the pink, pink and the blue. But you know that's the full page splash. But we'll get back to it. But basically, when they're in New York, he can like manifest his sword out of nothing. So
yeah, some sort of temporal quantum energy, I believe, is what it would be.
Yeah. And then it dissolves when he's done using it, and he can summon it back to his hand. It's very strange. And none of this is explained in this book. So it definitely makes, like, immediately I need to buy issue 2 and follow this series just because I want to know what the hell's going on. But there's enough action and enough intrigue. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I did read issue 2, and it doesn't actually explain, well, it kind of like explains some stuff and gives you some inklings as to kind of how this universe works, using like quantum entanglement, or at least that's what it seems to me personally, to be some sort of quantum entanglement type thing that's happening here. But we jump back to the woods where Augusta de Riviera, that's his full name, meets Jane Fool.
Right. Which in the in the New York cityscape, she looks like the, blue-haired, almost, to be fair, she kind of looks like a hooker. She kind of looks like
she looks like one of the punk scene kids girls that I used to hang out with in high school. To me,
okay, I think we just said the same thing in two different ways.
Well, you,
No,
you,
the
you didn't
colored
have to
hair.
pay for the socks. That's the difference.
You always pay for it here, one way or
Well,
another.
okay, not cash, not cash up front. How's that?
But no, to be serious, the reason I say that is the colored hair with the matching nails and the go-go boots, that kind of thing. I mean, it's kind of the outfit, man.
Yeah. Well, you know.
But here you get a better look at one of the thrall servants, and go ahead, keep talking about their meeting in the forest. Sorry, don't mean to sideline it.
Yeah. No, that's fine. So, she basically says like, "Hey, I can help you find this." What's the sorcerer's name again? I'm so bad at that.
Gaspard.
Anyways, Gaspard, thank you.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see she's kind of goofy, sort of like gypsy hippie sort of chick living in the woods. That's kind of how I read it. Who kind of talks with I don't know if it's like just an emphasis on certain words or if it's supposed to be like I'm not entirely sure what kind of like rhythm to read her dialogue with, but it's really fun to read. Either way.
Oh yeah, and it just keeps popping back and forth between the two scapes, and one of the characters they meet is he just kind of looks like a homeless dude in the comic, and they get to talking to him, and he has met them before, but they have no idea who he is. And that's another similarity. Jane Fool said that she was waiting on Auguste, and he had no idea who she was, and she's like, "I don't know you either, but I know I was waiting on you." And then once he explains who he is,
she through the forest.
Yeah. Once he explains who he is, she's
ahead.
like, "Oh yeah, I have heard of you." Blah blah blah. But you get no backstory on any of this.
Yeah.
So it's very intriguing and it's very strange, but at the same time, it just makes you want to keep reading these books. And I'm not sure. Did I find this and send it to you? It'd be like, we've got to read this. I know you picked this for this week to read, but
you asked me if I had checked it out yet since I had been reading Killer Groove. You were like, "Have you checked this one?" I was like, "No, I haven't." So I went and grabbed it this week.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm the one who pointed it out to you. Like, hey, you should probably take a look at this. It seems awesome.
Yeah, yeah. You were just like, "This looks like something you would like. You don't want to check it out." I was like, "All right, why not?"
So, it's very disjointed, and even though it feels like you got an incomplete book, like we talked about with Ghostbusters and Transformers, when you don't get any kind of exposition or anything, this doesn't feel like that. As disjointed as it is, as mysterious as they're masking everything, it feels intentional. It doesn't feel like they're trying to stretch the book out. It just feels like that's the way they're telling the story.
Yeah. Well, and it definitely after that that gorgeous spread. Which,
that's what she
looking
said.
back on it, maybe that's what he said.
Shut up. Anyway, continue.
Which
after that,
looking back on this scene though, I definitely can see little bits of kind of what they were going for with this imagery, which you'll probably get once you get to issue 2. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who might want to read this, because issue 2 is even better than this. But anyway,
so something basically from the title, temporal or Knight's Temporal.
Yeah.
obviously, I believe it's a play on Knights Templar, first off. But secondly, temporal manipulation. It seems that this Jane Fool person is connected to some kind of mysticism that allows you to transfer between time and space. And so is this sorcerer, so to speak, because he's the one who originally led Auguste here.
Yeah.
And
There's
don't spoil it.
man, I wish you would have. Yeah, I know it's so good though. You got to go read it.
If I still think it's good by the time it's over, it can be something we review in full. But as an issue 1, I just want to look at this as an issue 1.
Yeah.
Because again, if it's not good, you're not going to buy the second issue. So what are you going to do?
True.
But all in all, the art alone, I think, sells this entire book. It's very scratchy. You've got a lot of the crosshatch line work that's still very visible even after coloring. But it feels right for this type of book, and you get a lot. Like, I wish I could show every page because it's so good.
I know.
It's hard
at least
to decide.
Go second to last page. Where he's standing in the alley holding the
Oh, yeah, that's the
sword.
last one that I was going to pull up, yeah. No, that's what I am showing right now.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, that's what's up on screen right now, you boomer.
I wasn't looking at the screen.
But yeah.
I have the book in my hand. I wasn't looking up.
So, it's, it's really good. I enjoyed it. Even as disjointed as it is, it just makes you want issue 2, which is already out. I believe it came out this week or last. But,
yeah, it was this week.
So, I think that it's definitely something that if you like this kind of like high fantasy, future past crossover, time manipulation, because time travel in comics is garbage. But when you're using it as your storytelling device.
Yeah, well, and like I said, it's a little bit different than your standard like time travel story, which is really cool.
So yeah, Night Temporal, definitely check out. Not a book to sleep on. Aftershock Comic doing some big things right now. They're doing Killer Groove too, right?
Correct.
Which I think has one more issue to go, and then we're going to look at the whole series like in its entirety.
Yeah, one or two, but I'm pretty sure there's one left. I could be wrong though.
Well, the solicitation for the cover makes me think it's 2 from what you said.
Yeah.
But I guess let's go ahead and you know what we forgot to do? I'm so sorry we forgot to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. Yep, don't say it. I'm just going to do it now.
Okay. I was going to say a little surprised. That's all.
Okay. Ruin it.
That's not ruining anything. That's all I'm saying. Why do I get 2 boomer points, novel bro? What the hell?
Because you were using your physical copy instead of looking at the screen.
Well, it's so... The art's so pretty, though.
So, Ixel Pierce, fan of the show, sent me this the other day, and I asked him to record it in a way that I could play it on the show. So, yeah.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Gospel of Comics. This next portion brought to you by Blue Coal. Remember, Blue Coal will make you whole.
I love it.
So there's a little more to it, but I'm going to clip that part out. But yeah, that's our transitioning
That's
our transitioning advert.
too bad
Oh,
Blue
bro.
Gold is bankrupt, so we can't get money from them.
Maybe we should try and just like hijack the brand now that we're bankrupt. So the second book is almost as
good.
disjointed as the first one, and this was my pick, and that was completely unintentional. I had no idea before I picked this, but be completely candid with you guys. I am a Legion of Superheroes fan, and that means that I am a masochist. Anybody that knows anything about the Legion of Superheroes knows that you have to follow, I don't know, roughly 75 years worth of history to understand what the hell is going on at any given point in time. We briefly touched on this in the Amalgam episode with
Yeah.
the Spider-Boy and Legion of 2099 team up, because the Legion of Superheroes is from the DC universe year 3000, at a point where they have perfected time travel and are able to just go and randomly grab Superman or Superboy and pull them back through time. But anyway, I picked this up based solely on the title, Legion of Superheroes Millennium. Now, spoiler about this book. The Legion of Superheroes does not appear in it. I was bamboozled.
You got a heckin' bamboozle.
That's right. But anyway, Legion of Superheroes Millennium, written by Brian Michael Bendis, which some of you may already be tuning out for. Jim Lee, Dustin Nguyen, Andrea Sorrentino, and Andre Lima Araujo. I apologize for butchering those names again. Our pencilers, Scott Williams, Dustin Nguyen, Sorrentino, and Andre Lima again on inks. So Scott Williams, it looks like inked for Jim Lee. Alex Sinclair, John Elise, Dave Stewart, and Jordi Belair on colors, and David Sharp on letters. So first off, let's address the multiple artists in this book. This is a 4-part book, 20 something pages. 4-part book, maybe the full 32. I'm not sure. But each part is playing with different timelines. It's almost like they're trying to knock off what Hickman's doing with House of X, now that I think about it. I didn't really put that together as I was reading it, but this coming out in amidst the House and Powers of X, it really does seem like they're just trying to use that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is 28 pages. And it revolves around a character by the name of Rosen Thorn. Rosen Thorn has been around since 1947, I believe, was her inception, the Golden Age. And
Which
all
this is a character I'm not familiar with.
no, and I had seen them. Legion doing you a heckin' grief, friend. But no, Rose and Thorn is basically a bipolar character. Rose is one identity, and Thorn is another.
Remember, any people of the male persuasion listening right now, if a girl ever tells you she's bi, just assume she means bipolar. Don't assume she means bi in the fun way.
But first off, she comes to Madam President Supergirl in the first timeline and is talking about how Lex Luthor has created a cure at birth for multiple personality disorder. Nobody needs the medicine that she's been taking for years and years, so they've discontinued this medication. And because of that, Thorn is going to reemerge at some point. Because she can't be cured.
And be pissed.
Yeah. Because she's been locked away because of drugs for so long. And she also alludes to the fact that she thinks she may be immortal. Doesn't know why. Because she's just been secluded for so long, taking this medication, that she had no idea that she hadn't aged. It just didn't occur to her until, her husband died.
Which is a really interesting concept.
Right. Because, think about it. I feel like that does pass mustard, because there's a lot of, small, minute changes that you don't notice from day to day until you go back and look at a picture from 10 years ago.
Right.
You don't see yourself getting grayer and grayer. You might notice a gray hair that wasn't there before every now and again looking in the mirror, but it's only once your hair goes white and you look back on a photo from 10 years ago and then, man, my hair has lost all of its color. But
hey, I make my employees do a weekly gray hair check just because they stress me out so much.
Oh well, But anyway, and this is I think an example of Bendis at his best. You give Bendis a character that nobody knows who the hell it is, and just let him go off on it. And obviously, this is excuse me. I believe the artists were credited in order of appearance. So this is Jim Lee, and God, it's amazing. But
yeah,
the timeline she's in, she's
definitely really good in this.
She's going through and explaining her predicament to the president, and Supergirl tells her, "Oh, everything's going to be fine." And then you jump forward. Now, again, the biggest draw of this book is the dialogue. There's not a lot of action. That action scene was actually a flashback, so it's not a full fight scene or anything like that. But then you jump forward to Batman Beyond era. Okay? And obviously
I did really because I really like the Batman Beyond flash forward because I loved that show as a kid.
Yeah. Well, good show. And the comics are actually pretty decent too, depending on writing them. But I do believe that this is, this is chosen very specifically to denote a very significant shift in time. She eventually captures Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, after he, tries to stop her from mowing down villains with laser guns. Because she's a vigilante as Thorn. She's not a good guy. She's an anti-hero. She kills bad guys. And she's kind of seemingly having a nervous breakdown to a certain degree by the time she captures Batman Beyond and gets his mask off of him and starts asking him a line of questions like, "Are you the original?" Excuse me, folks. Are you the original Batman? Or, do you know what it's like to be like me, to be immortal? And he's like, "No, I'm not original." And she calls him a bat baby, which I thought was pretty funny. But
yeah, that was nice. I
you get the
that.
sense. And another thing that I'm seeing is that, obviously the last story, like the first part of the story, was centered around Rose. This one is centered around Thorn. And she's trying to make sense of what's going on with her and why she's not aging, why she doesn't die. And she was hoping to get Batman's help, and she's like, "You're worthless," and she just leaves him tied up to a chair, which I thought was pretty hilarious. But Then you go even further forward. So, I don't know. Bed. She's not going to go to bed until I go off the air. And then you go forward to even further in the future. There's been an apocalyptic event, and Commandy is. Well, forgive me. I've seen these characters before. Ben and the Elder. However, I cannot remember the Elder's name. The blonde boy is Commandy, and he is the last boy on Earth. Is his story. He is in the far-flung future. He's basically a savage because there's been an apocalypse. Civilization has crumbled. There are no other humans alive. And, Thorn just pops up and goes to steal Superman's suit that he's safeguarding. She kills the Elder without qualm, and claims his land as hers. And again, she's asking these very strange questions, like, is this where the Hall of Justice was, or the Fortress of Solitude? And, Commandy, not having met very many humans, if any at all, at this point, because he does eventually meet some in his story, but I don't know that he has a lot of interaction with them up to this point. And he keeps going to talk with her, even though she's killed the Elder that was watching over his suit. And, she steals it from him, basically, thinking that it gives her the power of Superman or something. And she puts it on, and it's too big, and she runs off with it. And it's very disjointed, it's very confusing. You don't understand why she's doing these things. But you're getting the sense through time that she's more than just a person with a split personality that occasionally pops up as an evil vigilante and occasionally just a singular entity that is just a decent human being. But anyway, she steals the super suit from Commandy and just runs off into the nothingness with it. And he's like, wait, give that back. And then you do another time jump into an even farther future. And this is where I believe the Legion of Superheroes will come in. But Rose is, it's Rose again. So it's Rose, Thorn, Rose. And it's across 4 vastly different generations. And in this one, she makes reference to the fact that she needs to get off this planet. She can't deal with everyone wanting to talk about everything. And she's like, I've had all of these conversations. I'm done. I'm done talking to people. I don't want to anymore. So there's definitely
I think she said, I've had every conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, she's like, I've had them all. I've had every conversation. I just want to be sent somewhere where it's quiet and I can just be alone. So, the guy she's talking to is just like, oh, you're great. I actually really like you. But unfortunately, the building has called the police on you. Yeah, the building has called the police on you. So, don't take this as a threat, but the science police are on their way. They apparently have deemed you a threat, but I don't. You're delightful.
Now, is Bill Nye in charge of the science police?
Yes. Yes, 100%.
Because if he's not,
well,
I can't get behind this book.
Let's let me just unpopular opinion here. Bill Nye is not a scientist.
No, he's not.
He's got an engineering degree or some shit.
Yeah, he has a bachelor's in mechanical engineering.
Right. But yes, if as long as you know that, then yes, he is the leader of the science police, which is the mechanical engineering police as well.
Either that or Black Science Man.
They show up and chase her out of the building, and that's what leads up into part 2. Now, obviously, there's not, again, this This is kind of like the exact opposite of the book we just looked at. The last book we looked at, there was a lot of action and no real extrapolation on what was going on. Here, you're given a lot of extrapolation on what's going on, but no real answers as to why it's happening or what the overall goal is. Like, you have no bearing of what the end game is for this book.
Yeah.
However,
And
go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
Oh no! Well, this is Bendis at his best. You've given him. Last boy is Ubermensch. This is Bendis at his best. He's doing conversations. He's doing dialogue, and it's good. For some reason, I really liked this. Even though I hadn't seen or heard of Rose since probably 10 years ago when I was reading some old comics. I think I was reading some Silver Age Flash or something. She was in it. But this is not Bendis working with the character that's well established and ruining it. Even though she has such a storied history, I mean, there were two different versions of her. I think Bendis does better in DC than he did at Marvel as well. Because there's more of a way to say, okay, well, what Superman are you writing? Because there's like 18 of them.
right. Yeah, you have a wider range of...
Yeah, what era of this character are you writing, buddy? Because nobody really knows. But in Marvel,
the interesting thing,
go ahead.
Is I didn't put the House and Powers of X thing together until you mentioned it. It is kind of weird. We have this, and the Knight's Temporal
All at the same time.
All at the same time. It's very odd.
Right. It's like, it's almost like, oh man, did we F for a second?
Probably.
At some point, I don't know. The analytics are telling me they've changed so much. I logged in to set the show up today, and the live streaming. It's going to start calling it live screaming. Andy Worski did. I'm live screaming. But the reason that I really enjoyed this, though, is because you got to kind of look at this character throughout their history, and the separation of the artist, it was a good call, I think. I think that there was a very good call to separate each time zone by a different artist so it didn't all blur together.
Yeah, it definitely did add it made it a little bit easier to denote the different time frames, which was good. Because like I said, I never read Legion of Superheroes, had no idea who this character was.
Yeah.
I jumped into this completely blind. So it did make it easier to follow as best as I could.
And that's one of the reasons that I like having you on the show. If it was, by the way, you're fired. But I like having you on the show. No, I know, but we're almost over, so I just wanted to get it in after saying that I like having you on the show. See, I made a joke out of firing you. 4D chest, buddy.
4D underwater, 3D backgammon.
4D underwater basket weaving backgammon. But no, you have just a different perspective on some of this stuff, and your go-to books are pretty much the exact opposite of mine. Like occasionally we'll just like sync up and agree on something, but like I said, when you first read this, you were like, I don't know if I like this or not. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's fantastic. But
yeah, I mean, it's definitely fun. I like the way it was presented and the dialogue and everything.
Right.
it just didn't hook me like House and Powers of X and Knights Temporal did.
No, but this is, again, it's not meant to. This is only a 2-issue miniseries. This isn't something that he's expecting you to keep up with 12 issues for.
Yeah.
I think that this
Which,
is just...
and it, I'm intrigued enough to read the second issue. I will get.
Right.
I will say that.
Right. And I think that's where you're actually going to get some Legion coming through. But this character is created as, being relatable from the very beginning, because the Rose side of her personality just has no idea what's going on with her. Whereas the Thorn side is a vigilante that wears a costume. So,
yeah.
But I don't know. That's the reviews for the week. I really like this. I will definitely be checking out issue 2. And
I'll also throw out, if anybody hasn't been reading Usagi Yojimbo since it switched over, definitely check those out.
Well, it's still the same creative team, I believe, or the same creator.
Well,
the content's
since
not
it switched
changed.
publisher.
Yeah, the content's not any different. So if you have been reading Usagi Yojimbo,
well, if you were going to jump into it, issue 4 starts a new mini story.
okay.
So if you were to jump into it, issues 1 through 3 is completed that little arc, and now they're starting another one.
I think I've got.
So just throwing that there.
I got Usagi. I do. Okay, I'll pull that up for the people.
And then also Spawn 300 came out.
We looked at issue 1
this
on
week.
the show, so yeah, Spawn 300 did
Yeah.
come out. I still haven't made it through all of Spawn. I had to stop. I had to stop for a little while. It's a lot.
Yeah. I grabbed issue 300 just because I was there, and I was like, you know what? I might as well grab it.
It's like, what, $9 or something?
It was like, yeah, $7.99, $8.99, something like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty thick. It's a little bit bigger than a standard comic book.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, I've got a copy in my pull box at the shop, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Although I will say that remember last week we were talking about Marvel 1000.
Yeah.
My shop did not sell a single copy.
Really?
Old one to me.
Wow.
That was it.
Wow.
Not a single
That's
person
crazy.
bought any of those. It's a $10 book, and there's not a Marvel 1 through 999. How stupid do you have to be? How stupid do you have?
I'm surprised there's not at least a couple.
No. How stupid do you have to be a comic company that's not doing well, and your go-to answer to boost some sales is to create an entirely new title and put the number 1000 on the cover? Because there's no research that shows that sales drop off the longer a series goes on. None of that. That's not true. Nobody has a problem jumping into a series with kind of a high number count. It's not impossible to sell an issue 300 to a new reader.
Yeah. Well, did you see that Hickman's staying on to helm like an entire full X-Men run called Dawn of X once these are over?
Yes.
I think they kind of saw how well these are selling and the feedback on these, and we're like, hey, you want to stick around and keep this up when you're done with this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm interested. Like I said, I'm waiting until I'm waiting. What? There's 3 more issues supposed to come out, or 3 more releases, or something for Powers, and then 2 more for House. So we've got a total of 5 weeks left. So mid-October, that all should be done in those 12 issues, and we can probably do a longer show and just the whole storyline. But
See, I was actually talking to the guy at my shop real quick.
Yeah.
When they eventually release this in trade paperback form, do you think they're going to release like a Powers of X, House of X, 2 separate ones, or are they actually going to be smart and release them in the reading order? Because you have 1, 1, 2, 3, 2. I don't know. The reading order is weird. It goes like House of X, Powers of X, House of X, Powers of X twice, then House of X again. Like the reading order's weird. I don't know if they're going to be smart and release it in trade.
I think you just answered your own question, because when it comes to doing the smart thing, that is not what Marvel does. Didn't you just hear my rant about Marvel number 1000?
Yeah, well, that's what me and Himbo said. It's like, yeah, they should do it this way, but they probably won't.
Yeah. That's why there's a website called Comic Book Herald, and once a lot of these series are done, that guy puts in work. He will sit down and figure out an actual continuity reading order that makes sense, even if the one that they gave you, like, a lot of times the one they give you is just like a release order, not a reading order. Like, I think Hickman gave us this reading order, but anyway,
it's in the back of each issue.
We're a little bit over budget, so I think that makes up for the late and gayness. I definitely appreciate all you guys stopping by show tonight. I do appreciate everything. That's about all I got. We will be back tomorrow. I have no idea what we'll be doing then, but something.
We don't? I thought we do.
Do we?
Are we doing Winter Soldier?
Oh, yeah. We're doing Brubaker Winter Soldier. I'm sorry. I was a little in my cups yesterday, so I haven't. I've been a little foggy all day.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week for both of us.
So yeah, Winter Soldier, continuation of the Ed Brubaker Appreciation Month, and figure out what we're doing from there. We'll probably have some other topics to bring up, or just some stuff to ramble on about. But till then, folks,
it's us.
Have a great evening.
Good night, everybody.